Whether you've put larger wheels and tires on your truck or even just installed rock lights, chances are that you've dealt with wheel well liners before, or fender liners. Everyone knows about the classic NorCal mod and cutting your fender and bashing it back and then smashing your fender liner so that it doesn't rub. Fender liners have always been around, although to most people it's an unnoticed part of the truck. That is, until you throw some mammoth guards underneath up against the frame and make your whole wheel well pop, but that's a whole other topic. Fender liners or wheel well liners first came around way back when to help protect everything under the hood. If you didn't know, there's a whole lot of engine and electrical wires underneath there that need to be protected to work properly.
Me, trying the new wheel well delete.
Fender liners block out all the dirt, mud, sand, rain, and slush if you live up here in Wisconsin to keep your engine both clean and also safe from the elements. Fender liners started as metal, which again, if you live in Wisconsin, you already know are gonna rust. Not to mention that if you're driving on gravel or even on the road and catch rocks up in your tire and kick them up, you're gonna be like ping, 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 off of the fender liner, and it's gonna sound like rocks in a blender. I hope there's a video playing right now of rocks in a blender because I just assume it's a super awful noise. RIP headphone users. But as the years went on and people decided that metal was just too much and didn't help the rust holes that matched the rest of the body, thermoplastic became the new thing. And then one day in like 2014-ish, bam! You buy a brand new truck and in your first bath, you realize your truck somehow hit puberty and it's growing some little stubble underneath it and it's just kind of weird. Now, these weirdly carpeted fender liners aren't on everything and it's really just the 2014 and up GMC pickups, some Toyotas, Ford Escapes, and as newer vehicles come out, you're probably gonna see it more often. Now, obviously, I could sit here all day and try talking about the history of wheel well fender liners, but that's no fun. Instead, I want a hands-on review. Hands-on review. I want to see a hands-on review on these carpeted liners and what exactly makes them better or worse than your average plastic wheel well. Let's go. So when you're looking at a carpeted fender liner and you're wondering what the possible pros could be, there's really only one, and it cuts down on road noise. That's really about it. You could argue too that it does look a little more luxurious and kind of gives a higher end feel to your wheel wells. But yeah, the road noise is the biggest thing as to why carpeted fender liners exist, and it's also really the only thing they've got going for them. So now, as for plastic fender liners, we actually had to come to the rear on this 2018 Ford F350 because the fronts on these are also carpet, which we didn't even know when we built this thing. But a lot of times people put aftermarket plastic fender liners in the rear on basically any truck because if you're gonna be doing rock lights or anything like that, or just kind of wanna have some more protection back there so that you're not kicking up rocks into your bedside and all that fun stuff, plastic fender liners like these from Rough Country are the way to go. And plastic fender liners are really easy to keep clean because you don't need to worry about carpet catching all of the like debris and dirt and gravel and stuff like that. It's plastic, so it just wipes off. So it's pretty easy just to kind of blast it with some soap, blast it with a pressure washer, and be done. Kind of some of the disadvantages to plastic fender liners though is you'll see that these fade. So like my 1993 Ford Bronco has plastic fender liners in it and they're pretty much gray because the black has faded over the last 30 years to kind of what it is now. So now when you're talking about cons on carpeted fender liners, the biggest thing is really just gonna be cleaning them. If you go out on Google or YouTube or whatever you use to search, that's gonna be the biggest issue people have is trying to figure out how you can keep these things clean. And as you can see, there's a lot of like nooks and crannies and indents that they decided to put on these 14 to 18 GMs that just kind of make it hard to get in there, get it clean. But the biggest thing you want to do is use either an all-purpose cleaner or a degreaser, spray that in there, let it dry, and then come back with either a brush or a microfiber and scrub it all out. Now, if you're using a microfiber, make sure it's an actual microfiber cloth and not like one of those terry cloths or something like that, because as you drag one of those across here, you're gonna end up with like 50,000 little pieces of lint everywhere, as you could imagine, which would just be a bigger nightmare as you're kind of obviously trying to keep this thing clean. So with all of those creaks, crevices, holes, and everything else going on, it makes it a little bit difficult to install rock lights, or at least it makes you pay a little bit more attention to where you're installing them, and that's a whole other topic. But looking at these, there obviously are a lot of bolts and everything. That's what holds a fender liner in, and there's a little bit more to taking them out with carpeted fender liners versus plastic. And as far as replacements go, they're pretty easy to find at your local dealership or just by finding the part number and kind of looking them up online. But that's kind of the cons or things you should look out for when you're looking at carpeted fender liners. Let's check out the cons to plastic fender liners. Now, obviously with the pros to carpeted fender liners are that you reduce road noise when you're driving. And obviously you can tell them that a con to plastic fender liners is gonna be the fact that you're gonna have a little bit more road noise. And it's just kind of something you have to deal with. Now, another thing you kind of got to deal with is if you are installing rock lights, as you can see behind me here, it's a lot easier to do with plastic fender liners because you can basically just drill a couple holes, put a couple bolts through, run your wire through, and you're done. Carpet, you got a lot more to deal with. You've got obviously the carpet material itself. It's a lot thicker. You got a little bit more to work with. And that can kind of be a pain. Another thing too is with the NorCal mod, which as you guys know is kind of basically taking a lot of smashing fenders back, cutting some plastic liners so that you don't rub with your wide wheels and tires on your no lift kit or small lift kit or just not big enough lift kit. And one of those things is with plastic liners, it's pretty easy to cut, trim, bend back, heat up, because it's all plastic. It's easy to move and maneuver and just change. With carpeted fender liners, you're kind of more limited as to whatever they have for you is what you're stuck with. So that's another disadvantage to carpet, and another pro to plastic fender liners is just the fact that you can kind of cut them, move them, trim them as you need for NorCal mod or clearance. Another pro to plastic fender liners is the fact that when you put rock lights on, they kind of reflect a little bit more, they bounce light a little bit better. They're not like carpet where they absorb the light, so you kind of get more spread and reflection off of rock lights on plastic fender liners versus carpeted. Take that for what it is. So in conclusion, plastic fender liners versus carpeted fender liners, you can kind of see that there's not too crazy of a difference, and it's pretty obvious as to what to expect when you're dealing with one versus the other. The plastic ones are going to be easier to clean, easier to install rock lights on, but you're not going to get that road noise protection from them. The carpeted ones are going to give you less road noise, better hearing protection if you want to call it that, but at the cost of having to keep them clean, which it looks like the future is leaning towards carpeted fender liners, so it might just be something you have to get used to and understand how to clean. Especially on a lifted truck that's 12 inches in the air with giant wheel wells that are easier to see, you kind of need to know how to keep them clean, because if it's your showpiece, you're gonna see it. Drop a comment below if you guys have carpeted fender liners and found some cleaning solution that works better than what we have, or just some trick that's out there. And if you have any preferences on plastic versus carpet, let us know in the comments below. Oh, and did I mention that we're giving away a 2018 Ford F350 Super Duty on 12 inches of lift, 26 by 16s and 42s? You should get entered to win.